Well, let's finish the show off a little bit early. Let's get into one of our favorite subjects, my favorite subject on the Sports PSP podcast, babyface or heel. Now, for those who may not know what babyface heel means in wrestling terminology, babyface is a good guy, a heel is a bad guy, and a tweener is someone in between babyface or heel. Josh Allen. And I think babyface applies with Josh Allen because of his style. I mean, out arguably the strongest arm in the NFL. There's him, Mahomes, Herbert. He Josh Allen would be number one for me. I mean, his style of play. He's exciting. He's fun to watch. He's 6'5". He's 240, 250. Now, Josh Allen didn't play so well in that playoff game, the last playoff game against the Denver Broncos. He admitted that he let his team down. But outside of that, man, Josh Allen is a babyface and that beautiful woman that he's married to.
Yeah.
And when you look at Josh Allen's improvement each and every year as a passer. So when I look at his style of play, and plus that 2018 draft class, Baker number 1 overall, Sam Darnold third overall, now a Super Bowl champion, Lamar 2-time league MVP. In my opinion, he's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Josh Allen, a league MVP. I believe he's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The rushing stats, the rushing numbers, what Allen can do not only with his arm, with his legs. Unfortunately, with Josh Allen, there's going to always be what ifs. Because you look at the divisional round game against the Kansas City Chiefs in 2021. You couldn't ask any more from Josh Allen in that game, especially how the way he and Gabe Davis was torching the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And in less than 20 seconds in the fourth quarter, Mahomes and company found a way to get into field goal possession, tie the game, overtime. Josh Allen didn't have his chance, like Mahomes didn't have his chance against Brady in the AFC Championship game. I think Josh Allen is still a babyface because, again, I don't think compared to Lamar Jackson, he gets as much criticism. And no, I'm not saying because of the R word, so let's get that straight.
Thank you.
I just think that because I just think preferential treatment or other things that come along with it, not necessarily the R word. So let's just get that out the record. But I do think when I look at Josh Allen, he's fun. He's exciting to watch. I would love to see the Buffalo Bills win a Super Bowl because they've been cursed. You know, they've went to 4 Super Bowls with Jim Kelly. Unfortunately, they couldn't win one. And when you look at Bills Mafia, that is a hell of a fan base.
Yes.
You know, what they did for Mark Andrews after Mark Andrews dropped the crucial 2-point conversion pass, what they did for DeMar Hamlin,
Yes.
and what Josh Allen means to that community. I say Josh Allen is a babyface. The only controversy with Josh Allen was prior to the NFL draft champ. Remember the lyrics? You remember? You don't remember?
No,
The Meek Mill lyrics, him using the N-word and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I looked at that and I said, look, he's just using a rap song. That doesn't necessarily mean he's a racist or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's the only controversy that with Josh Allen. Outside of that, he's a flat out babyface.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Thank you for re-educating me about that because I forgot all about that.
I'm surprised I'm surprised you forgot about that, as brilliant as you are.
Yeah, but you haven't heard a peep out of it in the NFL. I mean, when you have great behavior, it's kind of hard to remember the bad things or
remember the offensive tweets. He was quoting some lyrics. I believe it was like from Meek Mills or Rick Ross.
Yeah.
And at the time, he even talked about it with Stephen A. Smith, and he admitted that he was young and dumb at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was 16 when that happened. I think he was like 16.
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah,
that was
like
at the time when
16.
that happened. So
yeah, I mean, look, I shudder to think the shit that if my Twitter page was still activated, that y'all would find on my Twitter page. And please don't go look it up because you'd find some shit that would literally blow your mind. But and I'm not excusing the behavior. I'm just saying, when you're 16, 17 years old, you're not as conscious as you are when you get older. And like I said, I'm not justifying it, but hey, things happen a lot, especially when you're young. And you're quoting rap lyrics. You're quoting rap lyrics. I mean, I used to quote Bubba Sparks all the time when I was in school. And if you listen to Bubba Sparks, he uses a multitude of languages when it comes to, Southerners. And
There
I
you
will
go.
leave it at that. So Josh Allen, undisputed babyface. Undisputed babyface. People can say whatever they want to about playoff woes, but look, here's what I think. I think that Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady really,
Set
really
the mold.
spoiled us when it came to quarterbacks. Because the thing is, you're not going to be that fortunate. You're not going to be that good for a very, very long time. And you're not going to be not able to hit a wall in your career. We're seeing the Kansas City Chiefs hit a wall. We just saw them hit the wall. I'm just being real. The New England Patriots never hit that wall. San Francisco 49ers of the 80s, they never hit that wall. I think that Patrick Mahomes, early in his career, and Tom Brady, they really spoiled us about how a quarterback, and they made us think that it was easy. It's not easy to get to that bowl. And even when you get there, it ain't easy to damn win it. So, hey, and look, losing to Patrick Mahomes, no shame in that. No shame in losing to Patrick Mahomes, especially some of the shootout games that y'all have had. No shame in that. And look, it took Bills Mafia, Buffalo Bills, over 20 years to replace Jim Kelly. Now they found a guy who has surpassed it. Remember, between him and Josh Allen, they had Doug Flutie for a couple of years, Captain Flutie with the Captain Flutie Flakes.
Mm.
But other than that, hey, but I don't think they hit the wall. I mean, they went to a Super Bowl in 2011. Did they not? They went to NFC Champion. They went to AFC Championship. When I say hit the wall, I mean, in the great words of Max Kellerman, fell off a cliff. They fell off the damn cliff and fell to the jagged edge rocks below. They did some Mortal Kombat 2 shit. That's what I mean by they fell into the pit. But I think that Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes really spoiled us as sports fans. We really think that, it's easy. No hell. And even when you get to the Super Bowl, even when you got a big lead, it's hard for you to win the damn game. Don't believe that? Ask the Atlanta Falcons. So, hey, Babyface, he hasn't done anything in order to be malicious. He's not a showboat. I like Josh Allen, man. One of the best quarterbacks that I've seen. Very, very big, very, very strong, very emotionally charged. Can throw a ball to a car wash and not get it wet. So Josh doing damn good, man. Granted, he has a lot of apologists in this league, and we know, and understandably so. He has a lot of apologists, but hey, when you play for the Buffalo Bills, a team that hasn't had a lot, of course you're going to have your share of apologists in your circle. But, doesn't excuse it, doesn't make it right? No, but we all know sports these days is all about narrative. It's all about narrative, all about narrative.
Rex Ryan.
Tweener. I say tweener because I think that his messages are valid. We just look at the fact that who is directed towards and want to criticize. I think what he told Shedeur Sanders was absolutely correct. I really think that, look, let me take the hood off on this. I'm going to just let the hat show. I really think that it's okay to be cocky. It's okay to be a little bit arrogant. But at the same time, as an arrogant person, if I tell you, look, man, these are the pitfalls of being arrogant, then I think you should listen to that. I think we get so caught up in the R card that we don't understand where the messages are coming from. Because Rex Ryan was absolutely right in telling him, hey, when you win, say we. When you lose, say I. Because he's seen immature quarterbacks. Not only that, hell, people got on Warren Moon for saying that quarterback is a humble position. Warren Moon's in the damn Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame. And the thing is, they ignored everything that Warren Moon said about Shedeur as far as him being great. I think he can succeed. I think he'll be able to take a team to a Super Bowl one day. I think that he'll be able to start in this league, but he has to realize that the quarterback position is a humble position. You have to command respect. You have to show respect. People just bypassed all of that, what Warren Moon said, and just said, why you gotta be humble? Well, you just gonna eclipse every damn thing I just said just because I said quarterback is a humbling position, not realizing me as a quarterback, being the only black quarterback in the Hall of Fame, I was humbled 1,000,000 times over. I think his language was colorful, not on the level of Jim Cornette's, I will say. but I think his language was colorful.
And you tell me to stop watching Jim Cornette.
Look, have you seen the one for the new Dark Side of the Ring?
You mean the one I sent you about the dude having the tattoo on his...
Oh, my... I cannot tell you how many times I watched that.
Where did you think you get that from? I sent it to you.
Yeah, no. But
after all, you call him colorful.
But Rich Rod is colorful. I didn't like the whole feet thing that he did with with the New York Times. I think that was kind of weird. He's a tweener. I think people get misconstrued the message because of where it's coming from. And I think people look, let's just be real. I think we're so, I don't know what's wrong with the word humble. I don't know. And I think that, hey, NFL itself will humble you. And I really, really believe that a lot of guys and a lot of gals are just so afraid of that word that they automatically associate that word with the R word. And I think that's sad. And like I stated, they did the same thing with Warren Moon when he said quarterback is a humbling position. You have to command respect. You have to be respectful. They eclipse everything of that. I don't like a lot of the unnecessary. There's a difference between being colorful in order to get your point across, and there's an unnecessary colorfulness.
Do you think there are times he went too far with Shedeur? Because even Shedeur, he got criticism. And I thought, like, with Shedeur, he didn't came across as selfish. Like, even, like, with Dylan Gabriel, when he was benched in favor for Shedeur Sanders, you didn't really hear any controversy with Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur handled it like a pro.
Yeah, I think he was, and that's the reason why I put him at screen. I think he was a little bit too hard, but some of the message that he was giving him was legit.
And some were, but I thought others legit. He went too far, though. I thought he put his foot in his mouth.
Yes, he did. And look, a lot of times, I'll say this. A lot of times people give you a kick in the ass because they like you. A lot of times people give you a kick in the ass and it doesn't seem like they like you, but they really do. Remember everybody had that one seventh grade teacher or in middle school, high school, that this guy or this young lady was just always in their ass about something, but yet they took them off to the side one day and said, "This is why I did that. I knew you could do it." And I don't think people understood one thing that Rex Ryan said about Sador that was, profound. He said this: "You should be the starting quarterback of this team over Dylan Gabriel. And I feel that you should be ashamed of yourself for not being that because you're too talented of a quarterback not to be." Sometimes you can't listen to how somebody's saying something. You have to listen to what they're saying. People don't want to say that because they automatically want to associate that with humble, which people automatically refer, especially to black quarterbacks, as the R word, race. So I think that yes, he was a little bit too tough on Sador at times in the media. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. But a lot of times he would say certain stuff. It's just like he wants them to win, but this is kind of like that tough love type of situation where it's just like, damn. Because like I said, he literally said, "You should be the starting quarterback. You should be starting over Dylan Brady. You have the talent. You have the pocket presence. You had the stats in college." Go back and look at it. This is exactly what he said. And he said, "You should be ashamed of yourself for not being the starting quarterback."
He's a tweener. I like Rex Ryan early on what he did for the New York Jets, helping them get to back-to-back AFC Championship games. Smash Mouth defense. I mean, their defense back in that 09-010 champ. I mean, Darrell Revis at that point, best corner in football. He had Chris Jenkins. He had Bart Scott, Muhammad Wilkerson. He had a lot of excellent players on that team. And unfortunately, they couldn't even get to the Super Bowl. They went to back-to-back AFC Championship games. I didn't like how the way he handled the Tebow situation by bringing in Tim Tebow. I figured whether Mark Sanchez was awful or not, you should just allow Tebow to come in. Regardless of regardless how awful Mark Sanchez was, and he was awful, and regardless, you weren't going to win that division anyway in the first place with New England. So
No.
I felt like just throw Tim Tebow into the fire, just get it over and done with. It seemed to me he cared more about headlines during that time in New York. I did like his personality on Hard Knocks, especially when he said, "Let's go out and have a goddamn snack." So I did kind of like those types of things from Rex Ryan. All right, next one. I'm gonna say tweener only because I'm being nice. Malika Andrews.
Next. Heel.
Ooh, I'm shocked.
Undisputed heel.
You know what? You convinced me to say heel as well. Because I thought because reason why I say tweener champ, because normally you more of a fair-minded person, I thought you would say tweener. Heel when it comes to certain people, and I'll keep on emphasizing, I don't ever want to hear you mention yourself in the same sentence with Jason Whitlock. That's something you'll never have to be concerned or worried about for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I'm more shocked that you lean towards Malika Andrews with heel. And granted, Malika Andrews, what she said about Brandon Miller when she was drafted, I certainly did not like how the way she handled the Ime Udoka situation. I mean, come on, Chip. She tried to portray Ime Udoka like he was a sexual predator.
Exactly.
And my thing is, it was consensual.
Exactly.
That means he played a role, she played a role. Now, Ime Udoka, he deserved to be punished because he violated the protocol. Fine.
And how the hell you cheat on me alone? How do you cheat on me alone?
But that true. But the other thing too, she brought up Joe Mazzulla and his off the court issues. What does that have anything to do with the situation with Ime Udoka? Remember the Michigan State player who passed away and brought up the allegations that he was accused of?
Yeah. And then when the Josh Giddey situation, her and Stephen A had anything to say, And this was involving a little person.
A minor.
Trying to be nice, a little person. So, yeah.
No, I just had to put that in context.
So, yeah, because I understand how people could misconstrue that. But yeah, it was involving a young person. And, we haven't heard about it since. And their logic is because, well, we could get sued. Well, you could have got sued by the other guys too, but that didn't stop you from reporting and doing your damn job. So I think it's healed because the thing is this. You bring up situations and you pick and choose when you bring up a lot of these situations with athletes. But when it's time for you to really do your job and when it comes to other guys, then you don't. And especially with the Ime Udoka situation, he didn't go out there and he wasn't a P3DO. He didn't go out there and he didn't do the R word to someone. This was a consensual relationship that they just so happened to get caught by. You just got caught. It was inappropriate. It was consensual. So be it. Things happen every single day. Like I said, I don't understand how you cheat on me alone, but that's a whole nother story for another day. But, just like I said, I don't like the way she covers sports at a certain point. I mean, it's okay to bring up and do your job. I understand that you are a journalist, but to bring up certain things at the wrong time is a time and place. Everybody's going to bring up character issues. But if you're going to bring up character issues, make sure that you are consistent with bringing up these character issues across the board. I don't mind you bringing up character issues as long as you are consistent. There's this big narrative, especially with her and Stephen A. Smith, and a lot of the reporters at ESPN, unfortunately.
Former too.
And
Let's not
former.
forget Sage Steele.
Yes. Yeah. That person. But there's been a history of them always, okay, we're going to bring this up when certain guys get in trouble. We're going to bring this up in the most inopportunistic time. But when other guys get in trouble and it's time for you to bring that up, then all of a sudden here come the excuses. If you're going to bring something up, be fair across the board. I don't mind you doing your job. I don't mind you doing certain things. But be consistent in your job. I'm not going to sit around here and guess what? I'm not going to sit around here and feed myself lobster every day, but when company come over here, all of a sudden I want to bring out the deli sandwich. No, you got to be equal across the board. That was wrong for them to bring up that during the most proud day he arguably is ever going to have. Everybody know he had character issues. But like I stated, when Josh Giddey got in trouble with the little person, then guess what? They want to argue, well, we could have got sued. Okay.
Which, by the way, that's bullcrap on their part. I mean, you spent more time, you spent a hell of a lot more time covering other issues, but that particular one.
Yeah, and it was a big one, especially considering the climate that the world is in right about now. Considering the climate, I mean, and even back then, there were swirlings about, certain things that the FBI and certain files that the FBI and the CIA has out, even back then.
Plus, Champ, you mentioned her and Stephen A. Smith. Do you remember the one time when she was on First Take and interrupted Stephen A. Smith? In which Stephen A. Smith has said, "Excuse me, you're on my show. It ain't happening."
Again,
it kind of like it was like Stephen A. Smith. First of all, he's in his 50s. Malika Andrews is around my age. It was kind of like the other way around. It was kind of like Malika Andrews was like Stephen A. Smith's mother in that situation.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't like the way she in particular covers. When you look at a lot of the other women reporters, Ellie Duncan, when you look at Adriana, when you look at a lot of, especially the big three that cover basketball, that cover the WNBA, those are the reporters that you look up to and say, hey, they are fair, they're impartial, and they do things and they do great things across the board. I don't really look at Malika Andrews and say, hey, she is fair across the board, because you pick and choose what you want to cover when you want to cover it. Like I said, I don't mind you holding players accountable. I don't mind you doing that. That's fine. Hold everybody accountable. Hold them accountable across the board. That's all I ask. It has nothing to do with the R card. It has to do with customs, courtesy, and professional journalism. I'm not going to write about one guy, but then, during the biggest day of his life, and then when something comes out of the blue about another guy with what could potentially be a teenager, then all of a sudden I'm going to sit around here and just, well, I could get sued. Well, you didn't have that same energy with the other guy, because to my knowledge, Miller's not in jail right about now, is he not?
No, he's still playing.
Exactly. He never got convicted or anything like that. Did he ever get an apology? No, he did not. So guess what? Bringing up things at the wrong time, not keeping the same energy with everybody across the board, and then not being the bigger person and saying, hey, I apologize about that. I shouldn't have brought that up. That is what I call moral journalism. And in my humble opinion, she has none.
Well said, big fella. Well said. I was kind of surprised that you went with a heel. I thought you were gonna go tweener, but I changed my position. I went from tweener to heel because I,
You thought I was going to give her the pretty pass, didn't you?
you did that with Malika. What makes you think you any different with Malika Andrews?
Well, mine is prettier, so. But
And I don't like Malika. And I
I know
told
you
you before.
don't, but you.
No, I just don't like how the way she was as the moderator on First Take. I thought there were times she was very loud, annoying, and interruptive. And when I look at Malika Andrews, I question her reporting. I question, are you going to be fair? Are you going to be consistent? And it seems like she has a certain agenda when it comes to certain athletes, champ. And yeah, I do think race definitely plays a role. Because look, again, with the Ime Udoka, she treated as if that Ime Udoka was Deshaun Watson.
Exactly.
And I had a serious issue with it because wait a minute. If the report said consensual, that means he played a role, she played a role. Now, if Ime Udoka was accused of the R word or SA or something like that,
That's a whole nother ball game.
But when the reports say consensual,
why
are you portraying him as a predator?
Look, both of them just got caught. Look, let's just be real, and I hate to be this graphic. Both of them just got caught with their drawers down. That's all it was. That's just what that was. I hate to be that graphic, but they just got caught with their drawers down.
Or he just fucked up because he had Nia Long.
So yeah, you for that. That's a huge. Boy, that is a huge fumble, bro. That is a huge fumble. You got the revolutionary of short hair, the short hair queen, and when you fumbled that, damn. Hey, your game had to be tight in order. Hey man, look, to his credit, and the great Worcestino Brown, I got one, I can get another one. You might not get a Nia Long, but if you pull that, you probably can get another one.
All right, man, let's move on.